Well, this place is amazing!
Yeah, it's gotta be like at least 100 years old.
An archaeological marvel!
Glad you boys are impressed, cause it looks like I'll have to go on from here alone.
Do it, Sly. This place was built for you. We'll hold down the fort here.
Could be dark in there. My ancestors sure knew how to decorate. Nothing but big piles of gold.
The previous job we went through with the biplane was called Danger in the Skies, and now this current one, which is my other favorite job, the one I mentioned in the top two, is the Ancestors Gauntlet.
This place was started by Slyton Common II. He built his fortune in the employ of the great pharaohs. That must have been around 1300 BC.
So this is the very first time we get to learn about the entirety of the Cooper family lineup. We've only heard about a few of these guys in the past. Slyton Common, I believe, being one of them. He did have the shadow power ability, from what I remember. I will be accounting a lot more names that are both new and old to us going forward in this gauntlet. First things first, I want to mention that thing about Dr. M before I end up forgetting. Dr. M has some really interesting inspiration taken to make his character.
Sir Galeth of the Knights of the Cooper Order. Honorable knight and cunning thief.
Dr. M could be a reference to a mad scientist from one of H.G. Wells' novels called The Island of Dr. Moreau. It should come as no surprise to you that the particular inspiration for Dr. M is taken from Dr. Moreau, the titular character of that novel. Moreau also had a stronghold full of hybrid creatures as guards, much like what Dr. M has, so there are a lot of similarities between the two in that particular aspect. We never really know Dr. M's full name in any point in the Sly Cooper canon, but it's speculated it might be Moreau or Mandrill. Mandrill is a name for a large West African baboon, which is obviously the species that Dr. M is portraying as.
Salim Al-Kapar of Arabia. It was said that he had the stealth of 40 thieves.
Dr. M may also resemble another character from another game that was made by Sucker Punch, Rocket's Robot on Wheels. He looks very similar to a character named Gavin, whom I believe was also somewhat of a baboon in their own right. But Gavin is not evil, and it's more like a bystander in that game from what I researched on. I don't really know much about Rockets, to be very honest with you. That was one of the many N64 titles that I didn't really know about until I was a little older, and it's one that doesn't really particularly interest me, but if I were to get the chance to play it, I wouldn't pass it up. I would at least try it.
The strongest of the Cooper clan, Slay McCooper, could break any lock with a single blow.
So after every altar, I suppose that's what these are called, that you do activate, they will act as a checkpoint. So if you're worried about starting this entire gauntlet all over from the start, if you end up dying at any point, don't be. That's why these little displays, I suppose, are there for. That's not going to help you in the challenge that this particular job presents though, because there are no checkpoints available at all when you are going through this as well as a Master Thief challenge. What Belly was mentioning before you start this job is this is the very last job of the game that does give you the choice to use those 3D glasses if you were playing either the PS2 version or had a 3D TV that does have the 3D functionality on. So, Salim Cooper's ability wasn't just like his strength. He is noted for that as his biggest characteristic, but it's speculated that he invented the wall sidle, which is what we're using right now. It does make sense considering that we're dealing with heavy axes here, so it does make a little bit of sense that we're kind of using this, and he might be the Cooper that originated that maneuver. Though seeing that big of a figure using this little of a move as his, I guess, his origin technique to contribute to the Cooper ancestry is pretty hilarious to think about.
The Ninja Spire landing was perfected in feudal Japan by Ryoichi Cooper.
And now we're just past one of my favorite Coopers that we've learned about, Ryoichi, and of course he learned the Ninja Spire landing, which was the very first technique that we took back from the Phoenix 5 back in Sly 1. Just time these carefully. Once they do that little spark thing, then that's your cue to move on before it does retract. You'll also end up getting a lot of cash here, so this is a really good place to grind for coins if you're low on cash. It's a pretty big place though, so you might be here for a while. I still recommend you like the pirate ship method to grind up for coins if you want to get the rest of the gadgets. But this is a very good second place, for lack of a better term, to get some more loot.
Henriette One-Eye Cooper sailed the seas and stole from pirates. Guess I really take after her.
There's something that's really interesting about Henrietta One-Eye Cooper. It said, according to the official strategy guide that was made by Brady Games in 2010, that Henrietta actually had a run-in with Clockwork one time. But instead of being hypnotized like the rest of her crew, Henrietta was actually spared from Clockwork's hypnosis because of her missing eye. So that's a really cool bit of lore to learn about when you're going through the entire Cooper lineup. Also, Miss One-Eye Cooper is one of the few female Coopers that's ever been listed in the Cooper lineage. There were others that were mentioned back in Sly 1 when you're gathering pages from the Thieves Raccoonus in that game, and they all had different abilities. I believe one had the magnet purse ability, which could attract coins to you, and there was another one that invented the roll move, and there was a third female Cooper that actually invented the electric field maneuver that was essentially an upgrade for that roll move in Sly 1.
Tennessee Kid Cooper learned to slide along railroad tracks in the Old West.
Nothing new to learn about Tennessee Kid Cooper. He invented the rail slide and I think the rail walk as well, though he's mostly attributed to the rail slide from what I looked up on the wiki for some reason. They do mention in the game in Sly 1 that he's also the one behind the idea to use the rail walk. Though I'm not sure why that's never really mentioned more, like the rail slide ability is. I guess it's because the rail slide is seen more as a better maneuver than the rail walk. That's the only theory I can come up with. Either way, that's what TK is known for. And yes, I do call him TK for short because saying Tennessee Kid is kind of a mouthful. Plus, TK is one of my favorite Coopers, if I have to be honest. He's right up there with Ryoichi. Okay, now we gotta do some more climbing with these ropes. This is a pretty simple platform that we're going through in the Gauntlet, but the main takeaway here is to learn a little bit more about the Cooper lineage and what each Cooper did to, or did in their heyday as a member of this particular family of thieves. It's really cool stuff to learn if you're invested in the lore aspect of this franchise like I am. This is so cool to learn because we've always learned about or heard about throughout the entirety of the first two games how important the Sly Cooper family line is and how skilled they are, but never in great detail did we know about each of them like as individuals. So this makes this particular gauntlet so interesting to learn about each member of the family a little bit more.
Victorian-era London is the stomping grounds for the most gentlemanly thief, Thaddeus Winslow Cooper.
One Cooper in particular I wish got more representation afterwards of this game would be this one, Thaddeus Winslow. I'm not sure why, he just seems like the one of the more interesting, and that would be one of the more, that would be one of the Coopers that would have like more depth attached to them, at least in my opinion. But he's never really showcased anywhere else after this game, which is kind of a shame to me, because I would really like to see more of Thaddeus in a physical position, rather than just hear about his legacy. But that's just my personal opinion on that. Okay, this next piece is gonna be a little tricky. You just gotta wait for the hammer to come back. I guess they are hammers. I don't really know what they are. But just jump like a second or two before they do come back to you. Then you'll be able to climb up that little segment. Obviously, if you don't time it well enough, you're gonna take a lot of damage. I think they might take off half health if you're not careful. I'm not too sure. I do remember it does hurt quite a bit if you're not well with the timing on that.
Besides being a thief, Otto von Cooper was a great fighter and mechanic.
And here's one of the Coopers that is not known for their physical well-being, but for their abilities, which is Otto von Cooper. Which is how we know Sly is able to be so proficient with the biplane. And we also got to learn a little bit of convenient history with Henrietta One-Eye Cooper, because we did, not too long ago, go through a pirate level in this game. So it wasn't just pure coincidence Sly had to go through like an entire pirate thing. It was actually in its blood the whole time. Just pay attention to the sparks that go off and time your jumps across these propellers. It's kind of a reoccurring hazard you have to go through with these blue sparks. It's a huge indicator for what you have to be careful of. And this next altar should look very familiar to you if you remember the cutscenes from games past in this particular franchise.
This must be my father's work. How am I supposed to get through this thing? He made this challenge for a move I've never learned. There's nothing like this in the Thieves Raccoonus. Come on, Dad. Help me out here.
To add more to Otto von Cooper, he could be named after a person named Otto Letheniel, who was known for being the first person to make documented, repeated, successful flights. So again, more inspiration taken from history. That does kind of paint a basis, I suppose, for this member of the Cooper family.
Wait, those laser beams? A thieving opportunity? You've got to be kidding me.
And speaking of the Coopers, Sly's dad is a really intriguing case. For the longest time, he never had a name, but up until the strategy guide that I mentioned before that was released, he actually did have a name. His real name is Connor Cooper.
Nice work, Dad.
That strategy guide is also a little interesting as well, because when this game was first released on the PS2, there was no official guide for it that was released for it. They had to wait until like many years later when the collection version got released that Sly 3 would actually get an official strategy guide. I think it was the only one out of the first 3 games that didn't get a guide when it was first released on the PS2. Apparently, this portrait does present a new move for Sly. It was the laser slide.
This must be the inner sanctum. Wish Bentley and Murray were here for this.
It's not that much different from the regular rail slide. It's just sliding on lasers. I have no idea why that's somehow a new ability that Sly never learned, but that's what they portray here.
Do it, Sly. This place was built for you. We'll hold down the fort here.
This is going to be the payday of all time. Think of all the loot piled up back there.
Do you ever feel like you're playing second fiddle to Sly? Like he treats us as sidekicks?
No way! Sly's cool! We're all in this together!
Sure, we're all here, but are we equal? Who went into the vault? Sly. By himself.
Watch out!
Dr. M's goons? They must have forced the door after we opened the lock.
Think of it this way, Bentley. If it were you in that vault and Sly and I were out here, what would he do?
Stop these thugs and protect his friend.
Right, and that's what I'm gonna do. Keep your head down, stay clear. I'm gonna smash a lot of skulls, and I don't want yours to be one of them. Come and get it, maggots. I've got a knuckle sandwich for all of you, and it's chow time. Chow freaking down.
Appropriately, this particular job is called Stand Your Ground, which is gonna be a huge, tough task we'll have to deal with at first with these particular enemies. These are the mutant cobras that I mentioned earlier. No, I think it was the mutant alligators that I was thinking about. But now we're seeing the mutant cobras. These guys can be really tricky in a pack. They do have that little spit bomb thing that's easy to avoid if you just run around. It's the singing attack you gotta worry about, a la what Octavio did back in his fight. Coincidentally enough, it happened to be with Murray. But that particular attack with these guys, especially if like multiple of those cobras do that at once, I think that might be a thing. I've never really seen that happen before, but I imagine if that was the case, they would be really, really annoying to deal with. That was just the first wave though. Now we gotta contend with the alligators that we saw back when we were dealing with them as Carmelita. You know, this would be a good time for me to actually look through my gadgets, since I did take the time off screen to accumulate them all. And I will be showing all of these in a gadget showcase in the future. Which one will be good? Inferno Flop? Yeah, let's try that. The ball form is not going to be useful here at all. Berserker Charge might be useful to stun enemies. The Fists of Flame may be a good thing. Yeah, let's use that. So at least we'll get a little preview of that gadget showcase I will be showing in a bonus episode, because I have not been doing a good job showing off the gadgets in this game. If I have to be really, really honest about that. It's because I slipped back into that usual mindset of me not going for much of the gadgets, because I've seen it many times. I don't have a particular need to go after them, because I can go through this game just fine based on the smoke bomb and the few amount of gadgets that are required to get through certain jobs in this game. Oh, that's stupid. Ugh! I hate that singing attack so much. I get combo like crazy off of that. I'm actually surprised I haven't taken as much damage as I thought I would. Usually I would take a lot more hits. Ooh, there's help. I need that. I want to get that. Come on, come on, come on. Good job, Murray. I thought you'd be a little slow on that. But these are like the last two guys too. No idea why I was so worried about them if that was the case. I'm just gonna throw you off the side. Hope you're okay with that. Aw, just I thought there's gonna be more of them. I knew that was too easy to deal with. Which one's the one I haven't used yet? Not use the L1 button? I think that was the... Oh yeah, the Raging Inferno Flop. Let's jump up and hit the gadget button. Oh, that's really nice. Took out most of those crabs at once. That's really useful. Why haven't I used that one a lot more often? Especially with these crab enemies. Like, combining these alligator mutants with the cobras, those could be such a hassle to deal with. You can make the cobras use their singing attack to pick off some of their allies, but that's not gonna be enough. I guess if there's one time you want to really use your gadgets with Murray, this would be a good time since most of them are an instant kill. I mean, most of these gadgets are based on fire, so that should give you a good idea just how powerful Murray can be. Alright, just a few more. They are running out of bugs, so what Bentley says is true. Shouldn't mean you should let your guard down because of that, though.
These look like the last 3 they got! No more are coming in! He's the last!
Yeah! You're all knocked down, and the Murray stands tall! Like a freaking totem pole of strongism!
Ah, Murray! You're much stronger than McSweeney ever was.
That's right, plughead! I'm like a semi-truck with its brakes cut!
I don't have time to get into a screaming match with a caveman like yourself.
Then lock horns with me. Think you'll find I'm a better match.
I have no fight with you, Bentley. You and I are the same.
I gather you were the technical specialist working with Sly's father?
You knew Sly's dad?
Quiet, caveman. The adults are talking. That's right, Bentley. I know the pain you suffer working under your inferior.
It's no secret I'm smarter than the other guys. But there's more to it than that.
Like what?
Like brotherhood.
Brotherhood? That's just what he wants you to think. It's a tool to keep you in line.
No, that's the thing that keeps us happy and alive. It's why I'm going to stop you.
And me too!
Fine, Cooper Gang. I tried.
Caveman attack! This guy's stronger than he looks! Need some help?
Bentley, those statues look like ancient security devices. Maybe if you took the treasure off the top of them and put it on Dr. M's back, they might activate.
Like this? I'm pretty sure that's what you're talking about, Penelope. And lo and behold, that does work. But if you try to go after a second one...
I'm pinned down. Need to fall back on my grapple camp to deal with these goons.
Bentley's part is infinitely much easier to deal with than with Murray's. All you gotta do is rely on the grapple cam as your only gadget to deal with these oncoming foes, which are the elephant mutants.
Nice work, handsome. Now get another piece of treasure on Dr. M's back. Murray's not looking so good.
So unsurprisingly, the number of gemstones that you see around are the number of times that you have to use that to get to Dr. M. Are there really no more elephants? Oh, that stupid sneaky elephant. I knew that was gonna happen. And I lost a gem, great. I knew that was gonna happen too. The moment that I was gonna go onto near the fight between M and Murray, I knew that elephant was gonna surprise me. Well, thankfully my grapple cam is still in position. These guys will never know the location of your grapple cam if you're not like trying to fiddle around with the grapple cam and fool around with it against those particular guards. And I didn't make the jump, great. Gotta hurry up before they respawn. Get that to Dr. M. There we go, and there's the last one. This time, I'm gonna grab the gem, then pin myself down. Not to use the pole. So much of a habit to use that for some reason, don't know why. And then I'll pick him off with the turret on our handy dandy grapple cam. All of you should go away. And that's the last of them. Only time in the game you get to deal with those guys at all. Kinda pitiful if you ask me.
Well played, Bentley. But it was a meaningless gesture. According to the tracking device I planted on Sly's cane, he's just entered the inner sanctum. I can use the collected positional data to get through the gauntlet with ease.
That hall's for Coopers only.
Maybe it's time for men such as you and I to change all that.
He's getting away! What do we do?
I'll think of something. Just give me time.
You know something, Bentley?
What?
You think awesome.
Thanks, pal.